Hey everybody, it's Melissa Boher, Jacobson, Confident Life Coaching and Hypnotherapy, and as you can see, my hair is blowing in the wind because I'm coming to you today from a beautiful place called Boquete, Panama. And as a matter of fact, here's one of my new friends right down there. She has a great new service here in Boquete. And it's called Petland. So this is Boquete, Panama. And the reason that I'm able to come to you live today from Boquete is because in my business, I see clients from all over the world all the time. And as a matter of fact, while I'm here traveling in Boquete, Panama, I'm able to see clients. And I have, in the last 2 days, worked with 2 clients. I've worked with more than 2, but on the topic of social anxiety, I've just had 2 really amazing outcomes for clients and around social anxiety. So that's why I came on to talk today live about overcoming social anxiety. And this is very important because it is a absolute epidemic, and it goes across all ages. And here in Boquete, meeting new people, I can see that no matter where you go, your social anxiety goes with you unless you handle it. And it doesn't matter what age you are. So if you find that you're apologizing a lot when you speak to people, that you're worried about what people think about you, that you have limitations going on in your life because you self-edit and you limit, and you don't do things in your life because you're afraid of making mistakes or messing up, you are probably limiting your life and suffering from a form of social anxiety. And this is not something that you should have to live with, and you don't have to. My clients are able to be freed of that, and I'm going to tell you a story, an amazing story about one of my clients who is overcoming and getting past that in the most wonderful way. But if this is something that you are dealing with, or somebody you know is dealing with, you're suffering from any kind of issue that you don't want, I would love to invite you to hop on my calendar. You can do that so easily. I'll put the link in the comments below this live. And you can also find me at melissaboherjacobson.com. You can just jump on to a free consult. In fact, as I was here yesterday in Panama, somebody messaged me on Facebook and asked me about, working with me. So she was referring somebody else who immediately did that, and I'm seeing them tomorrow. And there's no obligation whatsoever, but you can find out if what I do is right for you. But back to the topic of social anxiety. So social anxiety usually comes from an experience that you had when you were young, typically. For example, the client that I was working with yesterday is young. He's only in his teens, but he is smart enough to know that social anxiety is stopping him from living the life that he wants. And he's smart enough to know that he doesn't want that anymore. So the root cause of his social anxiety, as it is for many people, was being humiliated as a young child on more than one occasion. Humiliated very often by a teacher. So in his case, yes, he felt humiliated, embarrassed in front of a classroom by his teacher. There was another root cause where he was humiliated by classmates when he liked a girl and was made fun of for most of his middle school life because of this crush on this girl. And the third scene, I think, was also a humiliation scene having to do with his self-image, his weight, his body image. So when we have these experiences, we acquire beliefs about ourselves when we're young, And these beliefs don't go away. They stay with us, and we often operate out of a belief that we acquired when we're much younger. And this is often the root of social anxiety, which does not get better with age. It actually gets stronger because these thoughts go on repeat, and social anxiety can become stronger over age. So again, if this is something that you have ever experienced, or you know somebody that's struggling, that is isolating themselves, particularly post-pandemic, there's a lot of people that isolated and then struggle to transition back into social situations. They've been hiding behind a computer for a few years, feeling very comfortable, and now they are, thank you, Chris, for the comment. Social anxiety, Chris says, social anxiety sounds paralyzing. That's right, Chris. It is absolutely. Not only is it paralyzing, but it takes years off of your life. And life is not long. Life is short, and it's to be lived to the fullest. And when you're making decisions in your life out of fear, when you are using anxiety, fear is your form of coping with life by escaping, avoiding, distracting yourself, there's a much better way. There's much better coping skills, and that is what I offer with my programs. It's very, very important to have phenomenal coping skills so that you can have life looking the way that you want it. So if that's something that you are interested in, please get on my calendar as soon as you can. It's easy to do so. I have a Calendly link. I'll post it below. But if you're writing this down, if you have a piece of paper, it's www.meetwithmelissa.me. And Chris is asking, how would you describe what it feels like for someone who dissolves social anxiety? So I'm so glad you asked that, Chris, because I'm going to tell the story about my client that I just got off the phone with about 45 minutes ago. What it feels like to dissolve social anxiety is absolute freedom. As I was describing to my client, he is now able to go anywhere, into any social situation, and not worry about what people think about him, and just trust himself to know what to do and say in any and all circumstances. He's still a work in progress. He's a young man. This is my second client with social anxiety. I have many, but this is the second one that I've spoken to this week. He shared with me, and I was amazed. He went to a birthday party at a karaoke bar. Now, 6 months ago, this person would never have been able to do that. They would have made an excuse. They would have stayed home out of fear. Out of fear of what would happen, out of fear of the unexpected, the unknown, out of fear of what people might say or think of him. He would never have done that 6 months ago. He's now broken free of that. 6 months ago, he was working in a dead-end job. He was very depressed, very stuck, very, very anxious. He has now given his notice to that dead-end job, and they decided they weren't going to let him go. They asked him to just stay with them and work whenever he could. Can you imagine this? He's working on his own terms with his dead-end job, and he's gotten a new kind of work that he loves, that is exciting him. He's no longer procrastinating. He is going to a karaoke bar, and his social anxiety is still there, and we are turning it into social confidence. Slowly but surely, he is making incredible progress. So this is what, thank you, Chris, for posting that. This is what is available to you when you have phenomenal coping skills, when you dissolve social anxiety, when you stop operating your life out of fear and worry and overwhelm. You start to live life the way you want it. Now, maybe you want to travel and go to fabulous places like Boquete, Panama, that you've never been to. Maybe you want to have a relationship that you've been afraid you couldn't have. Maybe sorry for the traffic noise, but we are live. There's cars here and trucks. Maybe you are wanting to start a business. You're tired of feeling stuck in your life. Now's the perfect time to reach out and get on a free consult www.meetwithmelissa.me. Chris, thank you for posting that. Randy says social confidence. Love it. Are there different levels of this confidence? Maybe step by step. Yes, absolutely. And you know, Randy, it depends on the person. The young man that I was just referring to, he has been working with me for quite some time. It's taken him longer than it has for other people. We've been, my programs are typically 3 months. He's been with me for 6, and he's getting phenomenal results. But most people dissolve that social anxiety and attain that social confidence. Some people do it overnight. Some people do it definitely within the 3-month program. And within my 3-month programs, social anxiety is one of the many issues that I help people resolve. Yes, Chris Rivera, are social anxiety and procrastination linked to each other? Yes, 100,000%, Chris. As a matter of fact, it's so interesting that you asked that question, because the gentleman, the young man that I'm referring to, this was what we were talking today about. He's no longer procrastinating, because procrastination, the cause of procrastination is fear of messing up. And in the case of this young man, it was also tied to his self-belief that he is not capable of growing up. So I work with a lot of clients as well who are young, and they have fears about growing up, about being independent. And again, this goes back to those phenomenal coping skills. You see, I'm afraid that I can't do it on my own. I'm afraid that I can't be independent. I'm afraid that I can't make decisions. And yes, procrastination affects all of those areas of life. When we're afraid, we do procrastinate. Procrastination and social anxiety feed off of each other without question. So again, if you want the freedom, and by the way, all human beings, including myself, our number one value for most people, our number one value is freedom. Freedom is a human need. And if you are making choices in your life out of old beliefs that are keeping you stuck, you're not having freedom. You're stuck in what we call a hopeless, helpless loop, where you want to be free, but you feel stuck. But you want to be free, but you feel stuck. Just get on a call with me. It's very painless. You will absolutely get value out of it. Every time I meet with somebody, I help them in some way. Even if I don't end up working with you, I'm going to help you. So get on my call. I really appreciate everybody who's been asking these great questions live with me today. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for listening. And I'll be going live tomorrow too, and I'll be talking more about social anxiety versus social confidence and phenomenal coping skills. So don't forget, just get on my calendar, www.meetwithmelissa.me. Thanks for listening, everybody.